Hello, and welcome to the second of the short recordings on academic writing, essay writing, and criticality. My name is Andrew Struan, and I work in Leeds. Before we go any further, I am recording this while my pug, Murdag, snores away in the background, so I apologise if you hear pug snores through the recording. She's not that interested, to be honest, in academic writing as a general rule. But what we'll focus on while she snores is this idea of being critical in academic writing, what it means to be critical, and why critical writing and critical evaluation are so important, and then the ways in which we develop that criticality through the process of argumentation. So we'll talk about the process of building an argument, of constructing an argument, and we'll talk about its place within your academic writing. So you might remember from the first recording, we spoke about this list of why we write essays. So this ability to display your knowledge, to explore a subject in more depth, provide clear and logical discussion on the topic, and then to present, to explain, and to defend your line of argument. So the way in which we do that then is by deploying critical and analytical writing. What I mean by that is the type of writing that we are looking for from you at university level. At school or at college, most of the time, most of your writing will have been descriptive. You will have stated things that happened. You will have stated what something is like, or maybe given a description of this story. You might have explained what a particular theory says, or you might have explained how something works. And that is important, that is important information. But what we want to push you towards, and what writing at university level is critical and analytical. And what this involves then is not just the ability to state what happened, but to identify and tell us why that's significant. We're looking for you to perhaps evaluate, so judge the value of strengths and weaknesses in an argument, or in data, or in information, or in an interpretation. We are looking for you to show us and tell us why something is relevant, why something is suitable. So that might be that you are telling us why a particular theory is relevant or suitable, or why you're adopting a particular approach to the analysis of a text, for example. So critical and analytical writing takes the information that you have gathered in this descriptive writing model and brings it up to the next level. And what that means from your marker's perspective is they're able to see not only that you have, for example, read the text, that you're able to tell us what happens in the text, but you're then also able to tell us, well, I have read the text, and by thinking about the text, and then also by understanding perhaps some of the critiques or the theories behind that text, you can then tell us also the significance. So let's look at some examples around about that. So descriptive writing of stating what happened. So one day, as punishment for defending herself against her cousin John Reed, Jane is relegated to the red room in which her late uncle had died. There, she faints from panic after she thinks she has seen his ghost. Okay, so you're telling us the story here, but what does that add? From a marker's perspective, what are you adding to the discussion here? Well, not very much, to be honest. So critical and analytical writing would take that same core pieces of information, but tell us, why is that significant? Why are we looking at this? Why are you presenting this information? So then you would maybe say, well, the red room is significant because it sets up the ambiguous relationship between parents and children, and so on and so forth. So what that's doing then is showing the marker, not only do you understand the text, so not only can you draw out the key core components of the text, but you're also then able to tell us what that means and why that's significant and why that's important. Let's look at another example. So if we were talking here about a theory The new critical style, for example, required careful, exacting scrutiny of the passage itself. Formal elements such as rhyme, meter, setting, characterization, and plot were used to identify the theme of the text. Again, lovely, very nice, but what are you adding here? How are you showing the marker that you understand anything about the application of that theory, or how are you showing the marker anything about how you interpret how to use that theory? Well, you're not in this example. So what we're looking for here is, well, how is it suitable? Why is it usable? Why is it relevant? Why is it being included in my essay? So you're saying perhaps then it's a particularly suitable approach in analysing poetry because its mode of close reading pays particular attention to the formal elements of the text. The trap that people fall into here is to think that what we're pushing people to do is to write as if the reader knows nothing. That makes no sense. You are writing for the most qualified people in your subjects. Writing as if they know nothing will add nothing to their understanding. What you're trying to do is show the marker not only that you understand the texts that you're looking at, but that you also understand the theories and that you understand how they join together. Okay, so don't think of it as a way of having to explain every single fact and caveat. It's not that. It's about drawing out what is the most important, or what are the most important points here. How are they suitable? How are they relevant? Why are they significant? Why do they work in that way? And in doing that, you will create a piece of writing that is, importantly, unique to you, and you'll create a piece of writing that is critical and analytical. So one of the ways in which to do this, or to get better at this, is to take a look at the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. The Manchester Academic Phrase Bank is an amazing resource which provides, I think thousands is probably the right word, thousands of examples of how to write critically. And it does this by presenting you with thousands of different examples of how academics phrase particular concepts or phrase particular approaches. So you'll see that there are things around about introducing work, referring to academic sources, describing your methods, discussing your results, writing conclusions, and then within each one of them, there's different sub-themes and subcategories. So if you ever find that you are coming up against a writer's block, or you just don't know how to say a thing, or like me, you find that you repeat the same phrase again and again and again, my favourite, and I use that word wrongly, but my favourite phrase when I'm writing is, "that is to say." And I have to, after I've written a piece, go through and search and replace "that is to say" for alternatives. You'll probably have similar trends in your writing. Use the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank to try and change them up a little bit. Okay, so that's critical thinking and critical writing. And the way in which we then present that is through argumentation. Argumentation is, in its simplest form, your attempt to persuade your reader or your marker of the truth of the point that you are making. Argumentation is your deployment of facts and interpretations and points or claims in such a way that you show the marker or the reader that you are correct, that your interpretation can be seen to be true. We'll come on to the building blocks of argumentation in a moment, but a careful reader, for example your marker, will question every part of your argument. They will question the evidence, the text that you have. They will question the theories that you use. They will question the structures through which you deploy your argument, and they will question the ways in which you then come to a conclusion. It's your duty as the author of a text to explain why you have reasoned things to be the case. And I apologise for the pug snoring again, and it's your duty to showcase the evidence, where it comes from, and how it works. So we'll come on to how this works in a second. But the important things here are to think about these core building blocks of argumentation as being something that allows you to best present, best defend, and best justify the answer in your essay. So the way in which we do that then is through these core key building blocks. Claims, because of reasons, supported by or based on evidence. What you'll have in your essay is an overarching claim. This is the answer to the essay question. You will then have within that multiple smaller sub-claims. So if you think back to the first recording where I encouraged you to think about things along a topic line or a theme line, the claim that you are making at any point in one of those topics or themes is that discussion of, analysis of this topic or this theme part answers the essay question. Okay, so the claim, you have that overarching claim that runs across the top of your essay, that's the answer, and that is then supported by multiple smaller subclaims. What you then have is reasons. Reasons allow you to justify and explain your claim. They are your place to perhaps draw on theory, or draw on discussion, or draw on academic debate, or draw on your own understanding of a text, for example, or of a film, and shows the way in which you justify the claim that you're making. And then beyond that, you have evidence. How do you prove all of this is true? If you have no evidence, you have no argument. Okay? Then you might have beyond that an acknowledgement or a limitation. So are there alternative interpretations? Are you using theory X, but theory Z also exists? If that's the case, and if that's really significant to your essay's work, then you'll have to respond to that. And that's where that critical writing comes to the fore. Because then you're able to say, for example, theory X is more suitable, is more applicable than theory Y because of reasons, and then that's supported and defended by evidence. Okay, so let's look at this in a couple of examples. So what we have here then is a claim, a reason, and some evidence. Right? The movie is a national allegory that uses the family metaphor to depict the state of the nation and to link the breakup of the nation to the breakup of a family. That's the claim. The claim I am making is that this film is that kind of metaphor. Then what I do is say, well, how do we know that? Well, I know that because the ailing mother is, in Alex's mind, inextricably connected with the country. So this concept of, well, how am I proving this? How am I starting to do that understanding is explained here. And then the last section in green is to say, well, here's the proof. You know, this is me showing you that this is the case. So this is the country that is always connected to mother in my memory. Okay, let's look at another example. So again, what we've got here is a claim, a reason, and some evidence to prove it. So the claim is that at the end of the film, Christiane confesses to her children that she did not have the courage even to apply for the exit visas, as the authorities could have taken the children away. So what we're saying here is that Christiane confesses that she didn't have it because the authorities could have taken her children away. How do we know that? Why are we saying that? Well, we're saying that because she stayed in Germany to keep them safe from the state. And then again, how do we prove this? Well, we prove it through evidence. So therefore, the wall divides this family and the mother. And it constructs her own lies that she tells her children and wants to believe herself. So that is using the text to tell us that. So what we have then is claims because of reasons based on and supported by evidence. If you have those three building blocks, you should have the initial building blocks of an argument. If you then combine that with the critical writing that we were talking about at the start, you will have writing that is critical and analytical. So what we're looking for you to do is then engage with that meaning, engage with that significance, develop that argument, and that argument is that overarching claim supported by multiple smaller subclaims that have reasons and evidence to prove them. Don't just list as quotes or tell us a story. That doesn't prove to us that you understand anything. Make sure that you answer the question that you're being asked, and then approach your writing in this thematic and theoretical way. So, once you have that then, once you have those building blocks, that's the process of getting to analytical and critical writing.